Hi, friends. In our time together today, I'm sharing an exercise with all of us that will help us learn the breath pressure requirements to play each whistle we have. We've talked a good bit recently about breath pressure because breath pressure and playing the low D whistle, the high D whistle, and any other whistle is central to being able to play that instrument well. It's really the key to being able to hit good, solid notes. And one of the exercises, and I've got my Howard here, my Howard Low D, one of the exercises I've shared before, then you often hear with that, to learn how to play like the second octave. And when someone says, I'm going to help you learn how to play the second octave, they're really saying, I'm going to help you learn how to play the second octave by figuring out what breath pressure you're going to need. And it's the octave jump. So you play the low D and then you jump to the high D. And then you walk up the scale. And the recommendation goes, and it's a great one. I've given it, and I've heard it. I've received it. I like it. The recommendation goes that you pay attention to the breath pressure you need increasing to jump from one note to the next. And I think it's pretty helpful. The challenge is that doesn't help me in a playing environment realize transition from note to note as to what I might or might not need to do. So in thinking through this, I was experimenting with different things and I stumbled upon the exercise I'm recommending today. And I think this exercise helps us a little bit more realize the transitional breath pressure we need to play all the way up our whistles. It's not just octave jumps, and that helps you think about, yeah, I can learn how to play the second octave, but what do I need as I walk up the whistle? And so what the exercise is, you play the low D and you play it with as good a tone quality as you can. Then set the whistle, think, rest your breath, and then play that low D and then walk up the whistle using that breath pressure. And then pay attention to where the quality of the tone starts to fail. Don't adjust your breath pressure. Okay, here on my Howard. Okay, so that's the breath pressure I need, and I need to maintain that. Okay, it was right around the E. Yeah, so try it a couple of times and noticed I walked a little faster so I didn't run out of air. Don't increase your breath pressure. You'll notice when I hit the second octave E, the tone started to just shatter and fail. So what I need to do is I'll start on the C sharp and I'll walk up to that E and I pay attention to the breath pressure I need there. And then you could do this a couple of different ways. One of the best ways is to start back. Pay attention again. Okay. And I'm trying to recall the two breath pressures I needed. So that way I'm marrying that together. I've got this breath pressure. And then I've got this breath pressure. where I have to blow harder. I'm paying attention. That's starting to get into my brain from a note transition standpoint, and that's the key here. So then you've got to repeat it. So I'm going to start again. And I'm there, and then I don't change that breath pressure. I use the breath pressure I need to play the E well, and I keep walking up. And I see and stop where the note starts to disintegrate. Okay, it starts to break apart a little bit at the G. Yeah. So I'd say, and notice in the second octave that the number of notes you could play at the same breath pressure starts decreasing. I could play the bottom octave fairly well on one breath pressure. The E starts to fail, so I need different breath pressure for the E. I might need a little bit more for the F sharp. See? And so you just keep walking up the scale and paying attention to when you get a good note. And if the note starts to fail, then you need to increase your breath pressure. And you get to the point where instead of stopping, you're paying more attention. And I'm in, woo, that's really ringing in the study. So it's a matter of learning to pay attention to what the pressure is required to accomplish a good tone quality, and this exercise helps you do that. Interestingly, I was using my Howard for that. This exercise is not limited to the Howard. Before recording, I grabbed most of the low D whistles I have, and there was not a single one that I was able to use the same breath pressure from the bottom to the top and maintain good tone quality. At some point in the second octave, it started breaking. Now, some of them went higher, some of them didn't go higher. I've got the MK Pro, which is notorious for beautiful tone quality. It's notorious for you really needing to learn breath pressure. So I'm going to do the exercise with the MK Pro. See the E right there again, same thing. The E starts falling apart there. So I get to learn what breath pressure is required to play the E well. It's actually a little bit more than I needed on the Howard. Every whistle is different. So I go through the exercise on the MK Pro. If I have that, whatever whistle you have, you start with good tone quality on the low D, and you walk up. When the tone starts to fail, you'll begin, as you're first doing this, then you play that note. You learn what's required to get good tone quality out of that note. And then you try and remember that. You start back at the bottom. You go back all the way up to where it started to fail, and you see if you can adjust your breath pressure. And you're learning that way. You're learning up and down the scale. Now, this is not just a low D whistle issue. I tried all the high D whistles I have too. Yeah, I spent a little bit of time on this. And I've got my Wild Irish, which was my first high D. So that's not as bad. So it is starting to fail only a little bit at the E, but more at the F sharp. That first time through, I noticed because I've played this for so long, I was adjusting my breath pressure. And this is an interesting side point. You don't need this exercise. You don't need the scale jumping. You just need persistence in playing your whistle. Over time, you will learn how to adjust your breath pressure to get good tone quality. But you do have to pay attention to that. It is something you have to learn. You will learn it just by playing. I can shorten that cycle for you. Other teachers will help shorten that cycle for you as well. And you shorten that cycle in a couple of ways. The first is, yes, try the octave jump. And pay attention to the breath pressure. But it's more helpful, I have found, to use this exercise I'm introducing now, where you're walking up the scale. One breath pressure. Notice where the note fails. Go a note down or two, or start at the bottom again, and find the breath pressure. Increase it, learn to go. The transition point from the one breath pressure to the other is what's critical. That's what I'm wanting us to accomplish in this exercise. Is this exercise helps you realize that when I'm going from the D second octave to the E, I need to increase my breath pressure. I have learned that by walking up the scale. And then if you keep doing this exercise, it will help you know how to go all the way up. But please be patient. You will not accomplish this overnight. But the exercise I'm sharing with you right here is going to shorten the time it takes. It'll take you, just by playing your whistle and letting the second octave show up, it'll take you a couple of months. Or if you're inexperienced with some other instrument, it might just take you a few weeks. I can help you shorten that cycle by going through this exercise that will help you learn the breath pressure required transitionally going up your whistle. Anyway, works on this is perfect for the low whistle. It's also perfect for the high whistle. It's perfect for an intermediate whistle. This will help you learn. And every time you get a new whistle, use this after you've played it a little bit and become a little bit familiar. You can't just do this immediately. You have to start getting familiar with your whistle. And we talk about learning how your whistle wants to be played. This is one of the keys that will help you learn how your whistle wants to be played. Breath pressure, breath pressure, breath pressure, walking up the instrument, pay attention and alter it as you go, and you will learn you will learn to play it better, faster. I hope this is of a great help to you, my friends. Until next time, this is Scott Shade. Happy low D whistling. High D, middle, all kinds of stuff.